So when I made this channel, not only did I want to put together videos about different builders and neighborhoods and great places to go and things like that, but I also wanted to make sure that you as the viewer became really well informed on what it's actually like to live here, so that you know whether or not it's a place you want to live. So not only do I make videos about builders and neighborhoods and so on and so forth, but I also do occasionally make videos about the environment and laws and government and things like that. And today I am going to do one of those, but let me promise you, this one is still very worth watching. Some of the laws that are just recently passed or in the works right now are extremely exciting for potential new homeowners. And it's something worth knowing so that you are well informed on where you're going to be living. So let's get right into it. My name is Lee Johnson and I am with Brownfield Real Estate Group. And I created this channel, as I said, because I wanted to create really well-informed viewers to help you understand whether or not this is the place that you want to live. If you like these videos, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, go down below and comment and tell me what you really want to see in the next video. And I promise I listen to everything that people put down there. And if that's not enough, pick up the phone, give me a call or text me. I always want to talk to you. So let's get right to it. And we're going to start with a really big one, and that is taxes. Real estate taxes are definitely a large burden in Florida. We don't have state income taxes, which is really, really wonderful. But of course, for people who are already retired, that doesn't really matter. So of course, the next thing to worry about is what our real estate taxes look like. Well, last year, Florida voters approved Amendment number 5, which was allowed in November of last year. And it took effect in January of this year, just 2 short months later. So obviously we also not only knew that this was an important bill, but that it needed to happen soon. Florida homeowners already have what's called homestead exemptions, which takes the first $50,000 of value of your home and exempts it from taxes, which helps lower some of the assessed value that you pay taxes on for your real estate. Well, one of the other things that has happened, as I'm sure you well know, is that home values have really gone up in the past 5 years or so. So the home that you bought 5 years ago at $400,000 may be worth $450,000. And if you're being taxed on that $450,000, you may not be prepared for that. Well, Amendment number 5 is adjusting taxes for inflation. So when home values go up, then you're not being taxed quite as heavily as you may have been in the past. You're saving hundreds of dollars a year on that newly assessed value. So Amendment number 5 is really a great thing. Second up, we have something that is even bigger than that. This past March, Governor Ron DeSantis proposed that we give every homeowner that does get homestead exemption an additional $1,000 rebate before the year is out. Which is a really great start to try and alleviate some of the additional that homeowner taxes are putting on people. But he's going a much bigger step forward. He has proposed and is working diligently to get on the ballot for 2026 the ability to greatly reduce, if not completely abolish, real estate taxes altogether. That's a huge deal, as your taxes down here could be anywhere between $3,000 and $10,000, depending on the value of your home and where it's located in the state of Florida. So when you say getting rid of taxes, my goodness, that's a huge amount of money that you're keeping in your own pocket and not having to give to the government. There is something to keep in mind though. Taxes, while burdensome at times, also have a lot of value, not only for the state, but locally as well. So local real estate taxes pay for things like police, fire, schools, road infrastructure, and so on. And we can't not have these things. It's important that they are still well funded so that our communities continue to grow and are growing in a safe manner. So one of the things that's being suggested is that what we do is raise the local taxes on tourism things like rental cars and hotels and tourism locations like Universal Studios and Disney World and lots of other places, which is a really great thing because tourists obviously get value out of having a great road system and police and fire companies that take care of them should a disaster happen to them. And yet they don't pay for it currently. Well, this proposal would help kind of alleviate some of the taxes for locals and put a little bit more of the burden on people that are coming to visit. Last year, we had over 120 million tourists come to Florida and visit us, which made us #1 in the country for tourism dollars. And yet, when you look at state sales tax in other major tourism-related states like California, New York, Illinois, and so on, you see that our aggregate state sales tax, including local and state, really is still quite low. So the proposition of raising those taxes really would not be a huge burden for people that are coming to the state, or it wouldn't prevent them from wanting to come here, because if they go somewhere else, they're still going to pay equal or more taxes in those states. But these two laws alone really show you where the Florida government is really trying to direct our government to go in helping local homeowners really make this an affordable place to live. Because as the economy grows and inflation continues to grow, we don't want to price people right out of their homes. We want to make it affordable and enjoyable to continue to live here for many, many years to come. And these two laws really indicate that. The next one I want to talk about is something called My Safe Florida Home. Now, as a real estate agent with a channel like this, a lot of my videos are about new builds and homes that are brand new, full of things like impact windows and strapping on the roof to prevent things from happening with a hurricane and so on. The really safe homes are, of course, the newest homes because they're being built by the latest building codes. But what about all those resale homes? We have a lot of really great resale homes that people should take advantage of because they have a lower cost in many occasions. But they're concerned about that because they don't want a home that's not as safe. Well, My Safe Florida Home kind of helps you with that. My Safe Florida Home program first was enacted in 2006, but then kind of lay dormant for a number of years. And then in 2022 was revived. And every year since then, this program has been refunded with larger and larger amounts. So in 2025, there is a program for My Safe Florida Home that is funded for $280 million. So how do you get your hands on that? Well, number one, you do something to the home that you've just purchased, and it doesn't have to be a brand new home. You could have lived there for years. Let's say that you just bought a wonderful resale home that you're really thrilled with, but the windows are older, they're not as good, they're not going to protect you, and maybe there's some other things that from an infrastructure and safety standpoint that you could do to your home. Well, with the My Safe Florida Home project, you can do those things and then apply for a rebate on a good portion of those funds. So if you replace all your windows with new impact windows and the total cost is, let's say, $10,000, you could very well get a $5,000 rebate check from the government, which is a pretty cool thing. You do have to be careful though. It's funded once a year, and when the money runs out, it's gone for the rest of the year. And it's an extremely popular program, so you want to be there right in time for that program to get ready to be funded again for that year so that you can put in your application and definitely get the money that you deserve. So obviously, these two bills that we just talked about are extremely valuable to you as a potential new homeowner. But now we're going to talk about something that is almost as valuable, simply in protecting you. And that seems rather weird, but the real estate industry has really become a hotbed of scams and trying to steal your money or your identity in a whole new variety of ways. So very recently, the Homebuyer Privacy Protection Act was approved and will go into effect in March of next year. And what it does is it stops trigger leads. As soon as you apply for a loan, even if you don't end up buying a home, you can get inundated with emails, text messages, phone calls, letters, all kinds of things from companies you've never heard of trying to get your business because they think that you're getting ready to spend a huge amount of money and they want in. This bill prevents those companies from doing just that. Only in a few instances, such as if you already work with a particular mortgage company, they can give you a call or send you an email or something to suggest that you use them once again. Or if you give explicit instructions that it's okay for people to solicit you for a business, then they can come after you. But otherwise, they can't. And that's a really great thing. For those of us in this industry, from realtors to lenders to title companies, we work really hard to protect you as you go through this process. If you haven't done this in a while, we don't want this to be a scary thing. We want this to be exciting and fun and rewarding when you get that wonderful new home. We don't want you to worry about whether or not you're getting scammed. So sometimes we do somewhat unusual things that may make you wonder, like, for example, I know that everybody in our brokerage, one of the first things we do when we start working with a client is we ask for their driver's license. And this really comes in handy when it comes to putting together a contract, finding the value of your current home so that we know whether or not your mortgage is going to be approved and so on and so forth. So it's a value, but it also shows us that this person is a real person and they're the person that they told us they were. And that protects you throughout the entire home buying processes. And there's a number of things like that throughout the entire process that will feel a little strange. And I don't ever want you to hesitate to ask about it, but there are reasons we do it to help protect you, the buyer. This next bill is just so much common sense, it's almost hard to believe it wasn't around before, but it wasn't, and now it is. As of July of last year, there is a new law that requires that current Florida homeowners who are trying to sell their home must disclose anytime their home has flooded or they have made a claim on their homeowner's insurance. Why did this kind of a law get passed? Well, it sounds very logical, but there is a deeper meaning, a deeper reason for it. Not only do we have hurricanes, but Florida has a lot of marshlands, or what we call wetlands, where the land is literally kind of soggy and wet. And if it's not properly remediated before it's built on, it can be a real problem on down the road towards your home, and it's settling or sinkholes or flooding or any number of other problems. But now with this new law, you walk into a potential purchase well informed, and your realtor hopefully has the responsibility to make sure that you get that information well before you ever close on that house. And therefore you have made the decision whether or not it's something you want to enter into, or you at least get to ask what has been done to the home, what has been done to fix the problems of the past. And that's a great opportunity for both you and the home seller, because if the seller's done things right, they get to tell you, this is a great home, and yeah, we had some problems, but now it's fixed and it's a great place for you. Last but not least is a law that was approved for condos and cooperative associations. And this one is really important. So it went into effect in July of this year, just very recently. But what it does, there was already laws in place, but this requires a much cleaner, clearer level of transparency that must be adhered to if you're considering buying a condo in that particular building. So now condo associations must disclose to a potential buyer what the financial situation of that association is and what is the potential for future assessments or past assessments and what was done in the past, so that you're well informed once again on what you're buying. All these things seem so simple and normal, and yet they weren't there before. So now the Florida legislature is helping put in protections for people that are buying down here and helping you live a much happier life down here. So why is this law important? I'm going to give you a great example that just puts it crystal clear. A good friend of mine lives in Daytona Beach, right on the beach, in a fabulous condominium building. And any building that has more than 3 stories has to adhere to this new law. Their building was well funded. Their association had already had a reserve fund and had done lots of things for insurance and things like that to make sure that they were well protected if a hurricane happened. And sure enough, Hurricane Ian happened a few years ago, and it was really catastrophic in the Daytona area, and it did a lot of damage. And my friend's building did have a lot of damage. They lost their seawall, their pool literally broke in half. A lot of homes' windows were blown in, and water was filled a lot of the homes. But you know what? They were one of the very first buildings that had companies there the very next day to help start fixing all these terrible problems that had happened. And this was a great thing. And it made sure that the homeowners were not out thousands and thousands of dollars unexpectedly, just trying to fix things that should have been fixed from the get-go if something catastrophic like this happened. So the seawall is now fixed, the pool is under construction, the homes are well occupied, and the homeowners are very happy that they live in this condo. But right next door is a building that had no funding whatsoever. It was not well funded. It was a beautiful building, but it was an older building that had not had a lot of repairs and updates for many, many years. So when Hurricane Ian came through, literally the building was condemned. And to this day, it is still not open. So you don't want to be one of those homeowners that now has a building you cannot even occupy. Can you imagine what that would cost you, in not only in emotional turmoil, but in financial burden as well. So this law helps alleviate these problems. It helps make things safer and better places to live. So once again, Florida is protecting you, the home buyer. Hopefully you've learned a lot over these laws. You've learned what a wonderful opportunity it is to come live down here. And if you have any questions about these or any other laws, I may not know everything, but I can help research and I can learn about them for you because I live here and I know the right people to ask. And I want you as a buyer to know that this is the right decision for you. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to go down below and hit the like and subscribe button. Get my relocation guide, the link is right down below in my description. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. Thanks so much.